Well, baby, I'm on it with a bottle of wine and an old dirt road. Are you ready to go? Hello, and thanks for
Okay.
joining us today. Live Music Nation podcast. I'm your host, Jake Gill. Today we're with Will Tollerton, Bushwhacker Days. Will, where in Missouri are you guys at?
We are located in the town of Nevada. It's about an hour and a half south of Kansas City.
Yeah, right on 71, right?
That's correct.
Perfect. Will, give us a little background on you and how you became acquainted and are working for the museum there. What's your background?
Well, I'm a 2006 graduate of Truman State University in Kirksville with a Bachelor of Science in History. I worked for the Missouri State Park System as a volunteer for a couple of years, and then for the Missouri National Guard Museum in Jefferson City. And in 2011, I came to Nevada to take over administration of the Bushwhacker Museum.
Very good. So that museum administrator, was that always a role that you kind of wanted, that you saw yourself evolving into, especially with a history degree?
Yes, I've had a passion for history ever since I was a child. You know, a lot of kids want to go to Disney World or Disneyland, and I wanted to go to museums even when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, and Civil War battlefields and so on.
As a history major, does it frustrate you to see people repeat history over and over and over again?
Well, absolutely. Although I think it was a famous man who said that history doesn't necessarily repeat itself, but it sure does seem to rhyme. And I think that's usually attributed to Mark Twain.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good. So Will, tell us a little bit about the Bushwhacker Museum, and then let's evolve that into the festival.
Okay, so the Bushwhacker Museum started in 1965 in a old building here in Nevada that had formerly been the county jail and sheriff's house. And it opened as the county museum in June of 1965. And it told the whole history of the county. So the border wars, the Civil War was a big part of that history, hence where the term bushwhacker came from, referencing the Civil War. But we tell the whole history of the county. So that includes the Osage Indians, Native American tribe, early European settlers, railroads, agriculture, and so on.
Perfect. And then Bushwhacker Days, how did that start? And let's start at the beginning.
Okay, so Bushwhacker Day started in the mid-1960s, same time the Bushwhacker Museum got going.
Okay.
This was a time period when town festivals were very prominent, very popular, and also it was the same time as the centennial of the Civil War. So historical interest in the Civil War was running high, and it was actually the Chamber of Commerce that really spearheaded it, along with the Historical Society in the early days, in the 1960s. And it actually was a full week at that time. Okay. The downtown retailers, they promoted it big. And every day there was a pageant, there was a square dance, and they even had an Indian powwow. That was part of it originally too.
Cool. And so give us a visual picture of how it's evolved and what it's like today.
Okay, so it remained very, very popular. I'm saying for 30, 40 years up through the 21st century. I believe the historical aspect of it, with the old time crafts and historical reenactors, was probably a little bit stronger in the early days than it had become now. Unfortunately, a lot of our older craftsmen have moved on, passed away, retired, so we don't have as many of that sort of crafty aspect of it. We still try to keep some of the history alive.
Sure. Very good. So what type of events do you guys currently offer?
Well, it used to be Thursday night, or Wednesday night was gospel night. Thursday night was sort of like local bands, and then Friday and Saturday night concerts. The craft part of the festival goes Friday evening and all day Saturday.
Okay.
They shrunk the festival by a day a few years ago, so now gospel night is Thursday night, which is the opening of the festival, and then Friday night, Saturday night. So we offer free public concerts. We try to get various summer country artists or country classic rock to come in for free concerts on Friday and Saturday night, and then it's a street fair throughout the day on Saturday.
Yeah, very good. So besides being on that border in the Civil War, what are some other things that Nevada, Missouri is really known for?
Well, here at Nevada, or at least Vernon County that we're in, Nevada is the seat of Vernon County, was the heartland and home of the Osage Nation in the early 1800s. So the Osage were one of the most prominent and powerful Native American tribes in the Midwest and Missouri. So this was one of their principal villages was here. We have a historic site dedicated to them. like I say, the railroads were very prominent, and the Civil War time period. There was a lot of fighting back and forth between the Kansans and the Missourians right here along the border. And then later in the 20th century, the state, who actually had the state mental hospital, was located here. So,
oh wow, very, very cool, very cool. What kind of role does live entertainment play for your event? Is it the primary role, or is it just ancillary with the fair or the vendors and things like that?
I believe, especially more so probably now, it is, I think, the primary draw. Our biggest crowds turn out in the evening on Friday and Saturday for the free concerts. Mm-hmm. So the street fair is probably not as well attended as it used to be, say 20, 25 years ago. So if anything, the live entertainment has probably grown in importance.
Okay, very good. All right, couple of fun questions here. And this is just you and you personal and your opinion. What's the best concert that you've ever seen, Will?
Well, the 10 years I've been here, I think the Gatling Brothers, when we had them here in 2014, 2015, one of those years, mm-hmm. They were very popular. So I would say that was probably my favorite, was the Gatling Brothers.
Okay.
Year or two before that, we actually had Crystal Gale here. And I would say that was probably the biggest draw in terms of like the biggest turnout we'd ever had.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
That was huge.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. One last fun question. So dead or alive, you could bring anybody to Bushwhacker Days. Money's not an issue. Who would you bring?
Oh, I'd say Johnny Cash. If he were still with us.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Will, how do people find out about Bushwhacker Days?
They can go online to bwdays.com and look up they'll probably, right now, they'll probably see last year's schedule, but sure. You know, come January, February, we'll have the new schedule up for 2023.
Sure.
I'm not sure who the main booking we booked yet for that year, but sure. It's they can look at bwdays.com. Okay. Is probably the best way to go.
Yeah, very good, very good. Will, thank you for what you do. I know that establishing and keeping the museum running in these times is difficult. So thank you for doing that. The heritage is important, and Bushwhacker Days is just a way to continue to do that. So thank you for what you do for your community, Will, and thank you for what you do for live music.
Yeah, well, you're welcome, Jake.
Well, baby, I'm on it with a bottle